UFC 283. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. Main event, Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill for the vacant light heavyweight title. Looking forward to this whole event. Make sure you guys smash the hell out of the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Let's jump into the first fight of the night. Starting things off in Brazil, we have Daniel Marcos and Saimon Oliveira. I like Daniel Marcos' chances to win this fight. I'm picking him here. I see him as the superior striker to Saimon Oliveira, and I feel he has the grappling chops to defend Saimon's grappling attempts. I do think Oliveira does have a pretty nice guillotine. As far as the stand-up goes, I see more power in the hands of Marcos. Overall, just a more striking prowess on the side of Oliveira. Athletic striking style, decent Thai boxing, but I don't think he lands with the same intent. Now, I don't think Daniel Marcos is like a one-shot knockout artist, but when he hits, it does some damage. There's a definite thud to his snapping shots and also the front kicks up the center that he worked against Brandon Lewis in the last one. I expect him to do well standing in this fight and stopping takedowns. So we're going Marcos to win. I'm feeling decision in this matchup. As far as the betting lines, Marcos is the underdog. He's upwards of plus 150. Saimon Oliveira minus 160 as the favorite. I'm going dog money to start it off. I'm picking against Brazil for the first matchup here. We're going Daniel Marcos to win via unanimous decision. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on it, it's Luan Lacerda versus Cody Stamann. I'm picking Cody Stamann in this fight. I like the wrestling that he brings, but also his boxing chops. Luan Lacerda has very good pure jiu-jitsu. Submission skill set is 100% there. But my mindset is this. T-Rex arm Stamann is going to be very hard to catch in any type of limb submissions. I really don't see a high likelihood of Luan getting a triangle choke. I really don't even see Cody Stamann's back getting taken here. It's going to be very hard for Luan Lacerda to work from the bottom position, where I think he'll find himself if they go to the floor. Now, if they decide to strike, I think Stamann is the better boxer. Yes, I realize the reach differential is wide, but Cody Stamann his entire career has dealt with having extremely short arms. He closes the gap fairly well. The wrestling chops are there to threaten, and I do think he'll be working well against the cage. I see Cody Stamann getting his hand raised by a decision against Luan Lacerda. And I can understand people are kind of looking at Lacerda maybe as a juicy underdog play. He's sitting at big plus money. Right now, he is at, where are we at? Plus 285. Stamann at minus 330. Listen, Cody Stamann is a really wide favorite, but I do think he'll get the clean win. It probably goes the full 3. I see him on top of Lacerda, not getting submitted. I do think Lacerda will try to be active from the bottom, but you'll see that top control that Stamann has to be too much for him, that wrestling pressure, and I see him getting it done. And if they do strike, I also favor Stamann's hands. He's going to close that gap, and I think he could touch up Lacerda standing. So I'm going Cody Stamann to get it done against Luan Lacerda. Another pick against Brazil, starting the card off. We're going 2 against Brazil here. Next fight, ladies fight, Josiane Nunes versus Zarah Fairn. Listen, I don't even think Zarah Fairn has the skills to be in the UFC. It's because of this very thin 145-pound division. The pick is Josiane Nunes, without a doubt. I think she's going to win by KO. She has kind of a little bit of that Jessica Andrade, John Lineker striking style. She comes forward with good hooks, real power in the hands. She's a short and stocky girl, but very physically strong and compact. Zarah Fairn, a lot taller at 5'8" as opposed to 5'2" for Nunes, but she's going to get the distance closed on her, and she will be hurt with punches. Her chin is straight up in the air constantly. There's not a ton of head movement, and she's a pretty awkward puncher also. I really see this as a Josiane Nunes destruction. I think she has a chance to really put the females on notice in the UFC. Granted, I know it's 145, which doesn't even have official rankings, but if she gets this win, especially if it's a KO, You're looking at her at the top of this division. I mean, maybe Amanda Nunes ends up defending the belt up a weight class against Josiane Nunes here. You look at that. Already 2 down in the UFC, 2-0. I think she's going to be 3-0 after this weekend. I feel like it's a one-sided fight. I see Josiane Nunes hand raised, and I'm calling knockout win in this fight. Thinking in the first or second round, she'll drop Zarah Fairn with a big shot, especially hook is kind of what I'm seeing. So it should be a pretty one-sided fight here, and the odds reflect a one-sided fight. Minus 370 for Nunes, plus 415 Zarah Fairn. Yeah, we got to go Nunes to get it done. She should win, and I will call it via KO. Let's keep running. We're picking Brazil, finally. Next fight on the card, Warlley Alves versus Nicolas Dalby. I have to go Nicolas Dalby. There's just too much inconsistency that you see for Warlley Alves as of recent. It's loss, win, loss, win, loss. Now, he's in time, due for a win, you could say, but Nicolas Dalby's performances are always pretty good, brings good pressure. He's got quality stand-up, a very physically strong guy. Warlley Alves is a Brazilian kickboxing champ. I know he does have the jiu-jitsu chops as well, so it wouldn't blow my mind if he attempts to get this fight to the floor. Maybe he'll look at Claudio Silva having a bit of success grappling with Dalby, but his chops, being Claudio Silva of jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, higher regarded than a Warlley Alves' skill set on the mat. I think Nicolas Dalby and him are in a very competitive fight. A lot of striking. I think Dalby will be able to bring favorable momentum later, right? So towards end of the second to the third. He'll just be in that face of Alves. I feel like he's going to smother him with that pressure late. I think he'll take 2 rounds out of the 3. I'm going to say Nicolas Dalby gets a win on the cards. Warlley Alves is like a flip-floppy guy. I mean, he beat Colby Covington early in the UFC run. Obviously, he's had a handful of losses at this point. He's kind of like a lot of times, early knockout or bust. He threw some nasty kicks at Mounir Lazzez, and then in his last fight was brutally knocked out against Jeremiah Wells. And that fight right there, I mean, if you look, Jeremiah Wells is a straight powerhouse striker with real knockout power. Nicolas Dalby, he doesn't have the dynamite one-touch shot, but he does have quality stand-up, enough so that I think he matches a Warlley Alves, and I feel like he'll be in the advantageous positions in the close range. Also with the clinch, when they go to the floor, I think the jiu-jitsu is pretty close. I could even see Warlley's a little bit better offensively, but I think the defense for Dalby will be there. So I'm going Nicolas Dalby to win on the cards. As far as the odds for this one, Nicolas Dalby, he's a little bit of an underdog, plus 105. Well, Warlley's actually plus 110. So you can find it at plus money depending where you go. But the lines are pretty much pick'ems here. We got a near even matchup. We'll say Dalby is an ever so slight underdog at the majority of the books. Good fight here. Reason for close odds is because I think the fight is going to be pretty close. We're going Dalby win decision 29-28 over Warlley Alves. Next fight on the card. Guys, get excited for this one. I'm stoked to see Terrance McKinney versus Ismael Bonfim. I'm picking the side of Terrance McKinney to knock him out. I do think of the Bonfim brothers, this is the lesser one now in the UFC. Now, his stand-up game is pretty quality. He's got good Muay Thai kickboxing. But when I look at Terrance McKinney, I see a guy that lands with life-shattering power. When he touches you, you will fall. Even though you look at the Drew Dober fight he lost, he was able to seriously hurt Drew Dober, who is probably one of the toughest individuals in mixed martial arts, period. I think that the side of Terrance McKinney is getting a knockout in this one. The thing about McKinney, he's so explosive. He's essentially just a first-rounder bust type of fighter. I know Bonfim kind of comes with a contrary style of more so taking his time, but it's in Brazil. I think McKinney's going to bring the heat and cause Bonfim to fight in a McKinney-style fight, which is a war, which is back and forth, which is a first-round type of fight. 1 round, I think, is all that's going. I think Terrance McKinney is getting the hand raised. He'll put it on Ismael Bonfim, make Bonfim fight the McKinney fight, and he's getting knocked unconscious in the first round. We're going Terrance McKinney to win. As far as the odds for this one, McKinney's minus 120, Bonfim plus 108. I also think Bonfim, even though he's not bad defensively, I do feel like he's not a super slick striker. He's a good technical, precise kickboxer with good pressure. I don't see him, with great head movement and insane reflexes. So I think McKinney is going to hit that freaking dome and do some serious damage. We're going Terrance McKinney to win, and he's an ever so slight favorite in this fight too. Next one, it is Jailton Almeida versus Shamil Abdurakhimov. Listen, Almeida seems like a future contender at heavyweight or light heavyweight, really whatever weight classes he wants to be in, he'll do well in. 216 pounds the last weigh-in. I doubt he'll weigh over 220 here. I actually think he takes down Dagestan and beats him up on the floor and then submits. So I'm going to go Jailton Almeida. I'll call rear naked choke as the Mystic Mac call. I'm thinking it could be first or second round. Shamil Abdurakhimov is also way past his prime at this point. You know, he's not a bad wrestler. He's a heavy dude. Kind of mid as hell with the stand-up, has okay boxing, and I mean, he has wins in his career against like a Marcin Tybura, which is a notable name, but he's got 3 in a row down. He's not getting any younger, and I think he's looking worse every fight, and his shape has never been something that he brings. I really don't think it's going to get any better at this point, you know, in 41. I feel like it's going to be Jailton Almeida running through him. This fight was supposed to happen multiple times. We finally have it here in Brazil, fingers crossed. Jailton Almeida has a showcase performance in Brazil, beating Shamil Abdurakhimov, and it's going to be all Jailton on the floor. I think he's going to win by sub, one-sided beating, and I think you got to watch Jailton Almeida in heavyweight or light heavyweight. He's going to do damage. Choosing heavyweight for now. Odds are crazy wide, minus 893. Jailton, Shamil Abdurakhimov, plus 632. The odds are crazy wide towards the side of Jailton Almeida, as they should be. It's going to be a one-sided ass-whooping win via submission, Almeida. It's not going to be close. He's going to be making Brazil proud this weekend. Next one on the card, Gabriel Bonfim versus Mounir Lazzez. I'm picking the Bonfim brother this time. I think Gabriel Bonfim is the better of the two. I really like his stand-up game. I feel like he's pretty dangerous with the kickboxing, and he also, I don't know, he has good accuracy. He finds the target well, comes in with a lot of pressure, and when he hits you, it's a thudding shot. He does some serious damage. Good snap on his punches, I would say, and also, I mean, he has wrestling in the back pocket. Pretty physically strong dude. Got a Von Flue choke in his Contender Series win, which I think is a pretty impressive submission. So he's not to be slept on the floor. When you look at Mounir Lazzez, you know, you have a guy who's purely kickboxing, obviously not terrible anywhere, but he's not extremely powerful. He's a guy that I think has to sit down and really win by an outpointing type decision. It's not like he doesn't have any power, but I don't think he has the power to make Gabriel Bonfim back off of him. I think Bonfim is going to be on him like a fucking shark that smells blood early. Now, I don't think he's going to rush it and go ballistic and crazy like a Ngannou versus Rosenstruik, but I think Bonfim is going to do some damage and get the KO win. Lazzez, not a chinny guy by any means. He was knocked out due to body kicks against Warlley Alves. Don't be surprised when somebody like Gabriel Bonfim is looking at that fight and thinking, I got to dig to the body a bit, but I think it's going to be a headshot that drops Lazzez, and I'm calling knockout win for Gabriel Bonfim, and I think he's somebody to watch. Super young, just 25. The skill set that he looks to have right now, I'm excited for more. I'm very excited for Gabriel Bonfim. I'm picking him here with high confidence too right now against a game dude in Mounir Lazzez, but I think he's a real prospect. Minus 176, Bonfim, Lazzez, plus 160. I like Gabriel Bonfim to win, and I'm feeling pretty good about that pick here. Looking forward to that fight. He's going to do Brazil proud also. Next fight. Holy hell. Thiago Moises versus Melquizael Costa. We'll just call him Mel Costa or Mr. Costa. Listen, I got to say, I got mad respect for Costa. I know he's got the skin condition, the vitiligo, and he's like a warrior for that. And he wants to like brings people's confidence up that have, you know, that type of disorder. Mad respect. I like Costa. I actually think he's a good striker, but I'm picking the side of Thiago Moises with a clear grappling advantage. When he gets a hold of Costa, which he will, he is going to be able to control him, take him down, probably take his back. But my question is, Costa, I don't think is any bit of a slouch defensively with his jiu-jitsu skills. I think he'll be out positionally worked, but I'm actually going to say Moises gets it done on the cards. You're not crazy to think Moises finishes. I could see a path where he's able to secure some type of choke, but more so thinking he gets positional control. And then Costa might even be able to find his way back up. And then Thiago Moises is kind of more of the same, continuing with pressure. I expect him to close that gap and look to grapple. I will say, if Thiago Moises gets ballsy and tries to strike with this dude, Costa has some ferocious kicks that could do some serious damage. He's also a southpaw. So dangerous kid to watch, but right now you have to go with the side of Thiago Moises to get the hand raised. He's fought very good competition. I know that Costa has a lot of fights. He has a better record on paper than Thiago Moises, but he hasn't been in there with the best guys in the world the UFC brings. Moises, he's getting that sword sharpened against these savages, and I think he's going to get a win against a kid with potential, but it's just not right now. I think Thiago Moises gets it done, and also Costa is jumping in on short notice, replacing Garam Kutatelidze. Thiago Moises, hand raised, and I will say decision, but it wouldn't blow my mind if he ended up getting a finish. Minus 285 from Moises, Costa at plus 250. Yeah, Moises wide favorite for good reason, and I think he's got the clear grappling advantage, which he's going to show in this fight. Next fight of the night. This one is going to be a banger. Gregory Rodriguez, Bruno Ferreira. Ferreira is replacing Brad Tavares, who pulled out. And I think it's a great replacement opponent because Ferreira comes to throw bombs and get knockouts. He's a straight finisher, 9-0, has some real power in his hands, but you throw him Gregory Robocop Rodriguez, who in my opinion is a problem at 185. I'm watching him. I was very excited for that fight with Brad Tavares. I thought there was a good shot that Rodriguez would knock Brad Tavares out. I think that Robocop is going to knock out Bruno Ferreira here, so we're going Gregory Rodriguez to win by KO. The style that Ferreira fights with, it's great. It's a genius stylistic matchup. Like, I'm very happy the UFC was able to find someone that's going to come and bring the heat. I think that he's going to come to the center and try to mix it up with RoboCop. I see RoboCop knocking him out. I'm going to call first round knockout. Could happen a bit later too. Obviously, when you have an undefeated guy like Bruno Ferreira, it's not, in his nature to lose. He hasn't taken that L yet. I think that type of stubbornness and confidence is actually going to get him caught and flatlined here. So we're going to go KO for Gregory Robocop Rodriguez, but I will note this. Club and sub is not out of the question here. I could definitely see Robocop deciding to, if he hurts Bruno Ferreira, use that jiu-jitsu, win by submission, because he definitely has it, man. Gregory Rodriguez is a well-rounded guy, and I like him a lot in this fight. Obviously, he's a very wide favorite. Minus 327, Rodriguez. Plus 285, Bruno Ferreira. We're going the side of Gregory Rodriguez, and I do think he gets an emphatic knockout in his Brazil showcase fight for the UFC. Good matchup, man. Really good matchup. Next fight on the card. Shogun Rua versus Ihor Potieria. This was a really hard one for me to pick, guys, because I look at it like this. Potieria, not that good, but very youthful. Shogun, once great, probably not at this point great, but still was once that great fighter that has the knowledge of combat to the level that he was a world champion. I am going to pick Shogun Rua to win on a decision against Potieria. I will tell you this, I'm not impressed by Poteria's takedown defense. I think that Shogun Rua might be able to surprise him with a bit of grappling in this fight. I think he could take it on the cards. I'm very concerned about that Shogun Rua chin always. Now, the line for this one has Shogun Rua at plus 180 as a dog. Potieria minus 190 is the favorite. I couldn't confidently bet the side of Potieria to win. I would more so go dog money and Rua, but I'm not just picking him because he's the underdog. I'm going veteran savvy over a guy that I don't think is that good. He's a decent athlete, solid punching power, and Potieria does really well when he's pressuring his opponents. So if Shogun Rua decides to come in this fight to work with pressure, I do think mix in grappling, even if he doesn't land the takedown. Just getting this fight against the cage will throw the flow of Potieria down. I think Shogun Rua is getting his hand raised. I think he'll be successful on some takedowns too. There'll be moments where they strike and mix it up, and the Brazil crowd will get to go wild for Shogun one last time. And I do think he finishes the career with a win over a guy that's in the UFC with a nice record, but I don't think has all that high level of chops as far as the skills go. He's decent. He's a decent fighter, but Shogun was once the best. Can the body still hold up? Obviously, a lot of questions. If you want to go bet Shogun at plus money for the legacy and ride with it, it will definitely add some hype to that fight. It's already going to be hype without throwing money down on it. But if you have a little something on Shogun, it'd be pretty crazy to see him get it done. Because I really think he can do it here against Potieria, who, in my opinion, just not all that great. But Shogun might be completely shot, and there's a chance one shot just flatlines him. I don't think that's going to happen, though. He still had a split decision with OSP in the last one, and I think OSP can still fight, even though he's past the prime. We're going Shogun. Veteran savvy, who's well past the prime over a guy who I just don't think is all that great. That is your featured prelim. It's time for the main card. If you guys haven't, make sure to smash that like button. And if you're new, subscribe to the channel. It's Paul Craig and Johnny Walker to start it off on the main card. What a crazy matchup this one is. I got to go Johnny Walker here. It's because Paul Craig, before he went on this run, right, where now, he's regarded as one of the top guys, has a win over, the guy fighting in the main event, Jamahal Hill. He was known really for getting knocked out. He was getting KO'd a lot. Alonzo Menafield comes to mind, Tyson Pedro. I'm missing names that are also there. Paul Craig has been KO'd. Johnny Walker is a physical specimen of a man. He's 3 inches taller than the side of Paul Craig. I also really believe that the physical strength of Johnny Walker can aid him in submission defense with Paul. Paul Craig's not a great wrestler. He's got really good jiu-jitsu, but he has to bring his opponents down normally by even pulling guard. His shots are sloppy. His stand-up is slow. He's not a phenomenal striker. More so, his striking will work because opponents are more so fearful of the ground game. I think Johnny Walker has a legit chance to blitz Paul Craig and knock him unconscious. I'm a Paul Craig fan. I was on that Paul Craig underdog train for a little while. Not in this one. I think Johnny Walker knocks him out in Brazil. Johnny Walker has talked about making changes, like not, messing with the CBD anymore, he said, which he believes was throwing him off and making him fight worse. He won his last fight. He won by submission. Granted, Ion Cutelaba is no world beater, and we, thought that he was like the Moldovan killer, but he turned out to be Moldovan mediocre. Unfortunately, Cutelaba apologized for the straight disrespect, but it's true. He's not all that good. Johnny Walker, I think, beats Paul Craig in this one by KO with his dynamic and awkward striking style and being able to fend off Paul Craig's grappling attempts because he's a mediocre wrestler. He's not even, I wouldn't even say, he's like below mediocre. He's not a good wrestler. He's got great jiu-jitsu. How's he going to get it there? Johnny Walker's a big specimen of a man. How's he going to just manhandle him like that? The size difference is an interesting factor. I think if you don't play Paul Craig's ground game, like if you don't play with it, if Johnny Walker's like, no, we ain't playing on the ground, he chooses to disengage as opposed to engage and try to impose his will in the grappling, you'll beat a Paul Craig. I'm going Johnny Walker by knockout. As far as the betting lines here, Johnny Walker's the favorite, minus 175. Paul Craig at plus 170. We're going with Brazil, Johnny Walker to get that win. Really excited for this fight. Main card starting with heat. Next fight on the main card, we know which way it's going to go. It's Jessica Andrade, Lauren Murphy. You have to pick Jessica Andrade here. All day. She's clearly got the better stand-up, better boxing chops, hits with more power. Lauren Murphy, though, does a good job of making fighters not look great against her. She doesn't have this great style where she's like super impressive. She's gritty. She's tough. She'll come with forward pressure, bit of awkward stand-up, good control. She's physically really strong, but I think Andrade can definitely stun her with punches. I think she'll match the physical strength of Lauren Murphy, and I think Jessica Andrade is able to get it done. But I'll tell you this, I respect Lauren Murphy's straight durability. I do think we're going the full 3. Jessica Andrade to win by a decision. Wouldn't blow my mind if she ends up getting a knockout. She's on a finish streak. All 3 of her last wins are finishes. I'm just going to say I don't think it happens in this matchup here with Lauren Murphy, but I think she wins with the superior stand-up. And I do think the physical strength matches in the clinch. I have a hard time seeing Lauren Murphy just bully her on the ground, but the odds are stupid wide here. Minus 475 Andrade, plus 390 Murphy. To be honest, though, these lines are a little bit disrespectful to Lauren Murphy's capabilities. I don't think Andrade is going to look like Mike Tyson out there and just embarrass Lauren Murphy. It's not going to look as much like minus 475, maybe more like minus 200. So yeah, these odds too wide. It is what it is. Andrade should get the hand raised, but not really a great betting spot. I'm picking her, though. She's going to beat Lauren Murphy. Lauren's not getting lucky this time out. Next fight is our featured bout of the night. Gilbert Durhinho Burns and Neil Magny. Gilbert Burns is getting a matchup that I think really does favor him so much. We've seen grapplers take advantage of Neil Magny. Short Brazilian grappler named, Rafael dos Anjos was able to win by submission against him. Last one, Shavkat Rakhmonov was able to beat him. Now, Neil Magny, he does have a win in the last fight, so it's not like Neil Magny is, Mr. L's over here. He beat Daniel Rodriguez, win by submission, but Gilbert Burns has got that championship level BJJ. He's actually got some dangerous Muay Thai. I think he can put it on Neil Magny with pressure. I do think Burns will be successful with takedown attempts also. How does he get it done? Does it go the full 3 or does he get the finish? I think in Brazil, Gilbert Burns is getting the finish, man. He's going to put a stamp on this one. I'm going to say Gilbert Burns, and I'm going to call it win by submission. I'm thinking second or third round. I'm seeing it, maybe a rear naked choke for Gilbert Burns. I don't think Neil Magny's an easy out, though. He's never an easy out. I mean, he's 6'3" in the welterweight division with an 80-inch reach. He's got mad height and reach over Gilbert Burns. You can see it there. It's 9 inches in reach. That's legit. But there's no power that Neil Magny brings to the table. And Gilbert Burns is an extremely explosive athlete, very strong, hits with power, is riding high, believing that he beat Khamzat Chimaev in the last fight, even though I don't think he did. He hurt Khamzat. I think he could do damage with the hands here against Neil. I think he'll finish Neil Magny, win by submission. We're going Gilbert Burns to get it done in Brazil, and he puts a stamp on it. Minus 375 Burns, plus 360 for Neil Magny. I'm going the big favorite, Gilbert Burns, in this one. I think he wins it. Brazil for another Dubski. The co-main event of the evening, Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno 4. These fights have all been coin flips. It's a tough one to pick, but when you look at the last fight, I thought Deiveson Figueiredo did actually deserve the decision. And I'm going to say he employs more low kicks in this one. I think Moreno has a hard time controlling him, even if he does get him to the ground. I think Figueiredo lands with more significant strikes. I'm picking Deiveson Figueiredo to win it on the cards. Decision over Brandon Moreno. Now, I don't think that this is the last time Brandon Moreno has a belt on his shoulder, or around his waist, rather. I just think that Deiveson Figueiredo beats him this time out. But Figueiredo's not young. He's 35 at this point. He might be jumping up to 135 if he retains the title. Maybe try to get a big fight there. I don't know how long he wants to sit at the top of this flyweight division. Moreno's the big fight there. That's the main name. Obviously, Pantoja's kind of in the wings waiting for his chance. I'm going to pick Deiveson Figueiredo to win the quadrilogy, to get it done. 1-1-1 against each other, so it's going to be cool to see them finally put it down. But I'm going to say it's going to be Deiveson Figueiredo. Low kicks are going to be a big factor. Dude, that fight-ready team, training with Henry Cejudo is a huge, huge thing. I think that Moreno now, too, having to switch and leave James Krause, that can throw you off. I think decided Deiveson Figueiredo gets it done in the cards. I think it looks pretty similar to the last fight. I'm going to say Figueiredo, though, with a clear decision win. And he beats Brandon Moreno, the people's favorite here. Odds are essentially even. Figueiredo, best value is minus 103. Moreno at minus 105. It's a pick'em's fight, though. It's minus 110 everywhere. And it makes sense. When you're 1-1-1 against each other, anything can happen. Brandon Moreno surely could, come through hard, get bad position on Deiveson early and maybe submit him. But I don't see Deiveson making those types of mistakes like he did, in the second bout. I think that Figueiredo picks him apart from distance with kicks and punches. I think when he lands, there's more of a thud. I do think Brandon Moreno still has moments of success. Like I said, I think he still can win rounds. I'm thinking it probably goes all five, 49-46, 48-47, and still Deiveson Figueiredo. And he's going to take the quadrilogy over Brandon Moreno. But I do think there's a chance Brandon Moreno holds that strap at the end of 2023. If you watch that end of the year predictions, you'll know why. Because Deiveson might decide, I'm done with this weight cut and I'm going up. But I do think he wins here in Brazil. Let's jump to the main event. If you guys haven't, smash the hell out of the like button. Guys, I love this main event. I was just watching a clip from Jamal Hill, and he was just talking about finding out, how good he really is. He's going to now know. So he feels like he's got nothing to lose coming into this fight. So that's something that, is a little scary, right? If you're on the side of Glover, if Jamal Hill really comes out letting the hands fly like a straight savage, he's got the power to KO anybody. Problem is, Jamal Hill was taken down, I believe, 6 times by Thiago Santos. If Glover Teixeira gets you down 1 time, vast majority of those times, you're either not getting back up or you're paying seriously. I think Glover Teixeira is going to have success with the grappling. He's the pick. I'm going Glover to win. I'm going to call submission. I'm thinking second or third round. I do believe he's going to get the belt back here. It's going to be interesting, right, to see Glover back at the top and then Prochazka waiting in the wings. Jamal Hill has the power to flatline any man, definitely. But the takedown defense, I don't think it's bad by any means. But Glover Teixeira is a lot better offensively with the wrestling than Thiago Santos. And if I see Thiago Santos having advantageous position, that's just too concerning for me. I have to go Glover by submission. I think he's going to find a way to get it to the mat. And also, let's not sleep on Glover's boxing skills. He can box his ass off. Yeah, he's been knocked out a couple times against like some of the best ever at certain points of his career. But at 43, Glover's looked incredible. And I think on the ground, he's going to show that he's got that edge. I don't think he's slowing down here. I think he's riding high. Alex Pereira winning against Israel Adesanya. I think Glover Teixeira is going to have a breakout, like not even breakout. He's already been broken out. A come to Brazil and make your people proud type of performance is what's coming for Glover Teixeira. He's an icon there. And I think he's going to get his hand raised, beating Jamal Hill and becoming the champion once again. Win, submission, Glover Teixeira in the main event. As far as the odds, plus money, Glover Teixeira plus 105, Jamal Hill minus 115. So we're going with the ever so slight underdog in Glover Teixeira. Interesting fight. Absolutely. Glover Teixeira and Jamal Hill, I think is going to be a damn good one. I'm actually really excited for this card. I'm not complaining about it. I think it's a pretty damn good one. Not the most stacked pay-per-view card ever, but it's in Brazil. I can't wait to hear, ooh, vamos, hey. It's been so long. I need it again. It's going to be a good one, man. Also, Jamal Hill, southpaw stance, which is interesting. I expect Glover to potentially decide to grab those singles and work to getting it towards the cage because of that. Super fun fight. Cannot wait to see the matchup. I'm picking Glover by sub. I think the wrestling will be the difference maker. And when they go to the floor, that jiu-jitsu will get his hand raised. UFC 283 coming with the heat. Cannot wait for it. We'll be live for the entire card Saturday, so make sure you tune into the Fight Companion. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Make sure to smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And definitely let me know what your most confident picks are in the comments. Do you agree with my main event pick, or you go on the side of Jamal Hill? Much love, people. Thank you all so much for watching. If you got nothing to say in the comments, also drop a W to boost that algorithm, baby. Much love, guys. See you all in the next one. Peace.